Friends, the Bombay Grahak Panchayat, which is otherwise called Mumbai Grahak Panchayat, as I told you, was incorporated during 70s and improved during early 80s. The great task was, at that point of time, over 1 lakh consumers in Mumbai were given at a very affordable, reasonable cost the groceries and essential commodities supplied by this Bombay Grahak Panchayat as a consumer welfare organization. Friends, you click on internet and go to Bombay Grahak Panchayat, you will understand the history, and Wikipedia gives you and the addresses also. And then you will understand how this kind of organizations really bring relief to the society and how they are working for the welfare of the consumers in tune with the objective of the Consumer Protection Act. Friends, in the same way, the Consumer Guidance Society of India was established in Ahmedabad, and it established its own laboratories and became a lion savior to the consumers and then against the persons who adulterated the food products. So this is the history you must note down. And another important aspect in pursuance of consumer welfare and consumer protection, it is the Bombay woman during 70s made a great efforts against hoarding, especially at that time hoarding of milk products not available to babies. And then these women folk brought real relief, remembering back to the great Jhansi Lakshmibai and then other great women warriors. Before I go to the law, I would like to bring these particular issues to your notice. And I advise you to go through the history of consumer movement and consumer protection in the world in general and India in particular, so that you will understand the concept of consumerism, then how the concept is fructified through a legislation, right? Actually, practice becomes law. Law will not become a practice. So this is the case where ultimately the practice has become a law, and now that law is in vogue, which we are going to study. Friends, this Consumer Protection Act was brought into force, as told you, in the year 1986, and then several amendments were brought in 2002 and subsequently by the 2003 the amendments were enforced, and then later on the Finance Act 2017 also brought certain amendments with regard to the conditions of the tribunals. Friends, this particular legislation consists of 31 sections and 4 chapters. It also is supplemented with Consumer Protection Rules 1987, followed by the Consumer Protection Regulations 2005, and further it is also followed by the Consumer Protection Procedure for Regulation of allowing appearance of agents or representatives or non-advocates for voluntary organizations before the Consumer Forum Regulations 2014. Well, friends, what is the basic objective of this legislation? This legislation is aimed at ensuring consumer protection, granting protection to the consumers. In what respect? Prima facie, to ensure there is hygiene food available, there is value for the money spent, and the product which is purchased for a particular purpose shall serve that particular purpose. You put something in refrigerator that cannot hotten up, that is for preservation. So, the objectives behind the Essential Commodities Act, the Sale of Goods Act, are carried further through a more comprehensive legislation which would be enforceable through the different consumer fora, and the guidelines would be followed and then laid and further observed by the consumer councils. The regulator happens to be the government itself, Department of Consumer Affairs, both at the central and state governments. Well, friends, in brief, I will now take you to different subjects wherein quality, quantity, pricing of the products would be the subject matter of consumer protection. Apart from that, several issues like health, carrier, courier, then various consumable items, including housing construction, various services are part of the various issues which could be taken and agitated to gain compensation. If you look at the brief structure of this legislation ensures that the traders, manufacturers, merchants shall abide by their specifications of the products, and quality, quantity, price could be as per the norms. There could not be unreasonable pricing, lesser quantity, lesser quality, and any grievance would be met with 1. A compensatory package to the aggrieved as damages. 2. The price could be refunded. And then 3. To ensure the defects are rectified and then the product is returned. Or in the alternative, damages, as I already told you. And the Act ensures that in the event there is non-compliance, disobedience, it could be resulted in execution under Section 25 of the Act, or even penal provisions could be invoked under Section 27, and even imprisonment could be, in fact, imposed by the consumer fora. So this is one legislation, irrespective of gender difference. The merchant is man or woman, would be subject to imprisonment under Section 27 if there is disobedience. This is against the provisions of CPC, in fact. This is the latest law. Under CPC, women cannot be arrested. But under Consumer Protection Act, Section 27, whether male or woman, male or female, the culprit could be sentenced to undergo imprisonment, apart from fine, or both. So we are getting such kind of laws as per the requirement, and the law cannot be static, as you know, it should be dynamic. And dynamism here warrants this kind of legislations. In fact, Britain has taken the lead after United Nations resolution was passed, and then in Britain, straight away imprisonment was imposed. Subsequently, the Indian law also has been enacted, and then in 1986. In 86 itself, they have enacted Section 27, making this particular stringent provisions against the offenders of the orders given by the consumer forum. The Act has been improved a lot. As I told you, I am a practitioner. I have witnessed the originating law and the subsequent developments bit by bit, mostly through the orders of the National Commission or the state commissions. Subsequently, the Supreme Court intervenes. And the landmark judgments of Supreme Court like the Indian Medical Association versus Shanta. And then the law was crystallized. Subsequently, that was further crystallized through amendments. And then today, we have what I can say a very foolproof law. And this is going to be further changed into new Consumer Protection Act. Of course, it is yet to come. I'm not going to touch those provisions for the reason you may get confused and then unnecessarily it will create problem with as a law it is existing today only we are going to discuss, which will be part of the examination curriculum. But you must know that this law also is going to be changed soon, and then a new Consumer Protection Act is going to be incorporated, or whether the government takes a decision to put more amendments, which we don't know. So that particular aspect you keep guessing and then keep a watch and update yourself. Now friends, let us take up the objects and reasons of the law. I will take up the statement of objects and reasons number 1, followed by certain important definitions as they are enumerated in your syllabus, and followed by explaining the liability of companies to consumers, and then explaining the enforcement under section 25 and 27 as it is enumerated under this particular COPRA, that is the Consumer Protection Act 1986. It is also called COPRA. It is like a cobra, in fact. Well, friends, what is the statement of objects and reasons? This act seeks to provide for better protection of the interests of consumers and for the purpose to make provision for the establishment of consumer councils, as I told you already, and other authorities for the settlement of consumer disputes and for matter connected therewith. It seeks inter alia to promote and protect the rights of consumers. What are they? The rights are enumerated in paragraph 2 of the objects and reasons. They are the right to be protected against marketing of goods which are hazardous to life and property. This is the most important aspect. And then the MRTP concept was also embedded in this particular legislation. The right to information, the right to be informed about the quality, as I told you, quantity, potency, purity, standard and price of goods, to protect the consumer against unfair trade practices. Even though unfair trade practice is part of MRTP Act erstwhile, that has been shifted to Consumer Protection Act today and enumerated. And then the right to be assured wherever possible access to an authority of goods at competitive prices. Then another right is to be heard, a right to be heard, right of hearing, adi alteram partem, and to be assured that consumers' interest will receive due consideration at appropriate consumer fora. What are they? There are 3 types. What is? One is the district forum at district level. At the entire state level, the state commission. At the entire national level, the national commission. It has got a territorial and pecuniary jurisdiction. How the jurisdiction is worked out, I will explain later on in my other sessions. And then, friends, the right to seek redressal against unfair trade practices or unscrupulous exploitation of consumers. And right to consumer education. Every consumer today knows by looking at the product, what are the ingredients, what is the price, what is the quantity, what are the effects of that product. For example, it is with a cholesterol, it tells you what is the fat content, what is the cholesterol content, and what are the vitamins it contains. Take soft drinks, for example. Take oil. Take any product. Today, now the FSSAI has come into picture. The FSSAI has to certify. Even then, any kind of illegal activity goes on, consumer forums will take care. If whatever is stated is proved to be wrong on the product, then it will be fatal to this particular manufacturer and then seller also. That's the reason why a combination of Essential Commodities Act and then the Sale of Goods Act and various earlier consumer protection oriented legislations were admixed into this Consumer Protection Act, and this particular preamble has been made. And friends, these particular objects are sought to be promoted and protected by the Consumer Protection Councils, which have been already established at state and central level. And the finality is that, as per the statement of objects and reasons, to provide speedy and simple redressal to consumer disputes. This is the most important aspect. Always dispute resolution is a nightmarish experience in this country for every consumer, because they had to get a speedy remedy and cheapest also. Cost effectiveness is important. Today, arbitration is not ruled out. ADR methods can be followed for consumer dispute redressal, and consumer fora also can be approached. This is a two-tier system which can be followed but not simultaneously. So, to provide a quasi-judicial machinery is also one of the objectives here, to set up at district, state and central level. As I told you, these bodies will observe the principles of natural justice and have been empowered to give relief of a specific nature and to award wherever appropriate compensation, as I told you, penalties for non-compliance, and then, as I told you, return of the price, rectification of the defects.